start learning days of the week in Russian. So let's start. Понедельник, which means Monday. Let's pronounce with me. Понедельник, which means Monday. Let's pronounce with me. Понедельник, which means Monday. Let's move to the next day. Ник, which means Tuesday. Let's pronounce with me. What the ник, which means Tuesday. What the ник, which means Tuesday. Let's move to the next day. Rita, which means Wednesday. Let's pronounce it with me. Idra, which means Wednesday. Idra, which means Wednesday. Let's move to the next day. Cheek, eek. Cheek, rig, which means Thursday. Let's pronounce with me. Cheek, rig, which means Thursday. Cheek, rig, which means Thursday. Move to the next day. Пятницу. Пятницу, which means Friday. Let's pronounce it with me. Пятницу, which means Friday. Пятницу, which means Friday. Let's move to the next day. Subbu, which means Saturday. Let's pronounce it with me. Subbu, which means Saturday. Subbu, which means Saturday. Let's move to the next day. Воскресенью. Let's pronounce it with me. Воскресенью, which means Sunday. Воскресенью, which means Sunday. Let's repeat it all again. Понедельник, which means Monday. Вторник, which means Tuesday. Среда, which means Wednesday. Четверг, which means Thursday. Пятницу, which means Friday. Субботу, which means Saturday. Воскресенью, which means Sunday. So today we will learn months in Russian. So let's start. Январь, which means January. So let's pronounce with me. Январь, which means January. Январь, which means January. Let's move to the next month. February, which means February. Let's pronounce it with me. February, which means February. February, which means February. February, which means February. Let's move to the next month. March, which means March. Let's pronounce it with me. March, which means March. March, which means March. Let's move to the next month. April, which means April. Let's pronounce it with me. April, which means April. April, which means April. Let's move to the next month. May, which means May. Let's pronounce it with me. May, which means May. May, which means May. Let's move to the next month. June, which means June. Let's pronounce it with me. June, which means June. June, which means June. Let's move to the next month. Now we will repeat it all again. So let's start. Январь, which means January. Январь, which means January. February, which means February. March, April, which means April. May, which means May. June, which means June. Now we will move to the next month. So let's start. Iyul, which means July. Let's pronounce it with me. Iyul, which means July. Iyul, which means July. Let's move to the next month. August, which means August. Let's pronounce it with me. August, which means August. August, which means August. Let's move to the next month. September, which means September. Let's pronounce it with me. September, which means September. September, which means September. Let's move to the next month. October, which means October. Let's pronounce it with me. October, which means October. October, which means October. Let's move to the next month. November, which means November. Now pronounce it with me. November, which means November. November, which means November. Let's move to the next month. December, which means December. Let's pronounce it with me. December, which means December. December, which means December. Now we will repeat it all again. So let's start. Iyul, July. August, August. September, September. October, October. November, November. December, December. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks a lot.